Hi, my name is Vita Panico and I'm the prayer director for Women on the Front Lines. Today, I'll be sharing about what does the Bible say about being a gatekeeper. Does the Bible say anything about being a gatekeeper? What is a gatekeeper? The Bible has a lot to say actually about the gatekeepers and their role. It's more than we can cover in one short video, but I'm going to give you some major keys that, if we apply them, could unlock destinies currently being hindered from unfolding. Maybe that's you. So being a gatekeeper isn't about us. It's about how well we carry and yield ourselves to His presence. There's something really interesting that I noticed while reading through the scriptures several years ago, which began to unlock this revelation for me. It was in 1 Chronicles 23 and verse 5, and it tells us that when David set up the house of the Lord, he chose 8,000 Levites, and out of those 8,000, he appointed 4,000 to be gatekeepers and 4,000 to be worshipers. It was an equal number. Therefore, it was equally important. In the church today, we rightfully place a very big emphasis on worship because it ushers in God's presence. It allows us to connect with the heart of the Father. It's the life breath of many of our worship services. Then, when worship is concluded, we leave the service or our prayer closet and we go on about our regular lives. That's the missing link right there. The role of a gatekeeper in the house of the Lord is to be the guardians of God's presence and to keep the fire burning on the altar overnight so it would be ready for the morning sacrifice. Today, God is not housed in the tabernacle anymore. We know that. He dwells in the heart of every born-again believer. So are we skilled at guarding His presence in our own lives? Do we actually keep the fire burning on the altar of our own hearts, even in the night seasons? We have a generation of believers today who do not know what it is to offer themselves as living sacrifices, the ones that Paul talks about in Romans 12:1. In biblical days, being a gatekeeper was not taken lightly. It was a matter of obedience to the law to keep that fire burning all night long. Gatekeepers were to stand guard and protect the presence even in peacetime and especially during the night season. The captain of the guard would actually come around like a thief in the night without any notice, and if any of those gatekeepers was found asleep, the fringes of the outer layer of their garment would be set on fire while they were sleeping. He would have to cast it off and then run home without it to change, which was very shameful. Jesus himself is the captain of the guard, and he is just as serious about this role today. How do I know that? He said in Matthew 24:26 that no one would know, not even himself or the angels, when it was his time to return. And then in Revelation 16:15, he reminds John that he's going to come like a thief. He says, "Blessed is he who stays awake and who guards his clothes, so that he may not be naked and seen exposed." That scripture is a direct warning to us as believers to stand at our posts as gatekeepers and guardians of His presence to keep that fire on our altars burning. We do not want to be caught in our slumber or in our complacency when Jesus returns. Being a gatekeeper is primarily about opening the gate to let in or let out, and it is also about closing the gate to protect what's inside from what's coming. In Psalm 24:3-6, David writes, "Who shall go up into the mountain of the Lord, or who shall stand in His holy place? He who has clean hands and a pure heart, who has not lifted himself up to falsehood or to what is false, nor sworn deceitfully." Then it goes on to say, this is the description of those who seek God's face. Then in verse 7, it says, in the same chapter, it says, to that generation, "Lift up your hearts, O you gates, and be lifted up, you age-abiding doors, that the King of glory may come in." Verse 9, it says it again. It says, "Lift up your heads, O you gates." Yes, lift them up, you age-abiding doors, that the King of glory may come in. Jesus is that King of glory, and He is the Lord of hosts. The mountain of the Lord is a place of God's governance in the earth. It's his seat of authority. Who can go up there? Those who know how to keep that fire burning on the altar. Those who know how to surrender their lives as a living sacrifice. Those who understand, appreciate, and live for the wonder of his presence. Those who seek his face. These are the gatekeepers. These are the ones who, with a lifting of the head, can usher in God's presence and allow the King of Glory to enter into any circumstance or any situation. They change atmospheres and outcomes with the presence of God in their daily lives. Gatekeepers are not just for the church. The gates in our world are not as obvious, obviously, as they were in biblical times. We don't have gates around our cities. However, they are everywhere, and right now, they're predominantly unmanned. Jesus told Peter in Matthew 17, 18, and 19, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell, the powers of the infernal regions, shall not prevail against it." We're supposed to take territory from the kingdom of darkness, not lose ground to them. The church must strategically, like David did, appoint and assign gatekeepers to all spheres of influence. This is the key that we are missing in our ability to disciple nations like Jesus commanded in Matthew 28:19. We need gatekeepers in every arena in the earth, and I believe each of us has a destiny assignment which is meant to be our gate. I teach so many keys on how to discover your assigned gate in my book, Gatekeepers Arise. We must be alert and awake. We must learn to be guardians of God's presence and keepers of his holy fire. So my prayer for you is that you see yourself as a gatekeeper and recognize how just a small mindset shift can change the level of your spiritual confidence and the authority that you walk in. If you'd like to learn more, please order my new book, Gatekeepers Arise, which is available for pre-order now. Listen, I believe you're a gatekeeper, and I believe this revelation is going to bless and enrich your life as much as it has mine. But until next time, women on the front lines, be blessed.